So the biggest lesson for me is realizing that there's power over fear when you enter a space of curiosity.
Not just the beauty of life, but knowing that even the challenges and tests are preparing me to become something greater.
And that's where I was like, wait, there's no peace amongst the people. How can we find peace in society?
Welcome back to another episode of Conscious Educators, the heart-centered classroom. My name is Rodney Salomon, and as always, I am joined by my soul brother, co-host, Mychal Mills. And today, we're not just talking about the world around us and all the calamity that is taking place. We are here to talk about the world within us and really talking about the things that really hold ourselves steady and anchored in who we are, even in the midst of all of this uncertainty.
That's right, Rodney. And there's a lot happening right now. There's a lot of fear, changes, disruptions. And the question we really want to ask is, how do we stand firm? How do we remain grounded in who we are? And how do we navigate uncertainty without letting it shake us internally, right? And there's things that are going to happen, but how do we navigate this inner space to create more balance in the outer space? Because one thing is for sure, the external world is always going to shift. Change is constant, family. But what you change changes you. And when you understand that change can be intentional coming from within, you can navigate change externally with more intention. But what about the internal world? We got to focus on that. And we're swayed with every storm. And as we say in all of our assemblies, no storm lasts forever, right? And the stillness of the storm is remaining I in the storm.
Yeah, man, I could definitely agree and rock with that, because we want today to be a call to our community. Anyone that is hearing this, sharing the words that we speak about, the educators, the parents, the leaders, every person that feels like the ground beneath them is starting to shift. And that can always happen in a new cycle, a new election, new laws, right? But we're here to remind you, you are still in control of yourself, and that right there is phenomenal. You are not powerless. You have the ability to decide how we respond and not react to what's happening, and how you lead and move forward with clarity, with grace, with peace, and with purpose. So before we jump in to kind of get things started, right, we want to really make sure we ground this connection in a space of gratitude to all of our listeners who are tapping in right now.
So we invite you to not just hear these words with your ears, but feel the resonance of these words inside of your heart. We appreciate you all.
We care about you all.
And we love you all. And we truly mean that from our hearts to your hearts, no matter where you are in the world. I hope you feel the extension of our hearts.
Yeah, and being that those words are just being shared and stuff that help us remain anchored in that space of presence and awareness, we're going to do a little check-in. And I encourage you to do this with yourself, with someone you love, people around you, but to really be aware of where we are at in this moment, and also grounding in some gratitude. So, Brother Mike, man, what is your weather report, right? And what's something that you can find gratitude for in this moment in time right now?
I'll say my weather report is sunny. My body is feeling really healthy, vibrant. I've been getting a lot of movement in my body. My mind is really sitting with love. I'm reminiscing and ruminating on love. And my heart is just feeling ignited and awakened, and these beautiful connections around me, kids, staff, and family, loved ones. I'm just feeling really good in this space. There's a lot of love in my life right now.
That's the reason why you're probably feeling really good right now. It's been a while since they heard from you on the pod. I think some updates that need to be shared with the people who are listening.
No, some beautiful updates for both of us, right?
Yeah, I'm asking about you.
Oh, man, over the holiday break, man, I just had a milestone in my life. I got engaged. I asked that beautiful question of, will you choose to do life with me? Yeah, right? And I asked that question in particular.
Okay, not the European when you married me. I see what you did. I didn't know that back then. I was just on the continent, so I just went the regular route.
I just recognize it's a choice each and every day. But, man, that warms my heart. I'm an engaged man. man, y'all. I'm an engaged man. I'm a fiance.
Hey, man, leave a comment if you want an episode with the fiancés and the wives to kind of see who is grounded in the leadership. But that is beautiful. Congratulations on that new engagement. Yeah.
Thank you. What about yourself, man? What's your weather report and why?
Yeah, I would say it's sunny. We just came from maple. I was going to say maple syrup. But,
No.
Oh, man, we came back
Sweet,
from
though. Sweet.
Yeah, it was sweet, man. Shout out to the Tickets to Fuller Foundation for bringing us out to speak in front of a great group of middle school youth. And that definitely gets me light up when they give the response and energy. You get the little dap at the end where they really appreciate you. And I'll say my big announcement, man, I've been blessed with the birth of our third baby boy into the Salomon family. We got 3 kings, 3 princes right now on New Year's Eve. And that has been a tremendous blessing and really challenges me to show up in this world as a better father. So the weather report is sunny. The gratitude is the family, the birth, and grateful for the challenge of in a beautiful way to navigate the future of who we are going to become. So
beautiful.
I would love to hear from y'all, family. Leave a little shout out if you got a little opportunity to pause the tape and really ground yourself in where you are at and what you are grateful for. And we are about to get things rocking, right? So I would say, Mike, we both seen a lot of seasons of uncertainty on our journey, right? And times when the ground was like, yo, what are we going to do next? How are we going to navigate this payroll? How are we going to figure out the next step for kids? But over the years, we recognize that this uncertainty, this feeling of discomfort isn't really an enemy. As much as we ain't like having to be in that experience and have to navigate those challenges, we realize that it's actually a beautiful teacher. And it's really not really good or bad on this journey, but it's the hidden lessons that we receive in both of them. And our biggest lesson is really how to navigate the unknown, the uncertain, with a clear space, a place of being grounded and centered. And that's one thing that has really helped us mature into the men that we are now. Would you say that?
Absolutely. And I said the biggest lesson for me is realizing that there's power over fear when you enter a space of curiosity. And in uncertain times, they're invitations to discover who you truly are. And they're not barriers. And nothing is meant to push against you, but for you to grow stronger in your own embodiment and becoming more of what you are. And, you ask yourself in curiosity, what do you believe in? What is life showing me? What do you trust in? Are you going to react or am I going to respond? And these are beautiful questions that you can ask yourself internally, and then you tap into that inner wisdom that's inside of you. And you don't take the time to pause and be still, and the world doesn't dictate your emotions or actions or peace. It comes from within.
And I like what you mentioned, that word curiosity. And as you were sharing those questions, I would love for your embodiment, like a question of like, what do you believe in? How would you exercise curiosity in that statement to help our listeners really stretch out the essence of that statement?
One thing I told myself, this is at the very beginning of the pandemic. I was at Shark River Park, and I was just sitting in stillness. I was in nature. I was sitting in stillness, and I was watching the world, right, in a state of fear, panic, social distancing, and fear of, getting ill. And I told myself, well, I practiced for this. This is what the practice was for, right? And all the moments of practice led to this moment of stillness where I can respond to what's happening outside of me and remain anchored in my own faith in a higher power, faith in that power also lives inside of me and is channeling through me, and faith that everything is working out the way it's supposed to work out. So, how many times have I been in situations like that in chaos? It's been numerous times. It could be small times. It could be interpersonal relationships. It could be work settings. It could be world settings. But these were all catalysts for my growth, and I ask you, how do you stay grounded during those moments?
Man, I think what you just shared is a powerful statement, and it really goes back to the pillars of what we stand for in conscious education, and the core and the foundation of that being the embodiment, right? And we really break that down into, I'll say, 3 core components: self-awareness, self-regulation, and heart coherence, right? And the first step of this journey is we have to strengthen our ability to even be aware of like what's happening in real time. When I'm watching the news, do I notice what my body does, how it tenses up, how I start to breathe? When I hear an opposing viewpoint or judgment to the situation, do I notice how my breathing begins to change? And then it really teaches us also how do we control the nervous system. So if I don't like your opinion, I don't like your viewpoint, does it mean I just cower up and run away? Or do I take a moment to regulate my nervous system, to ground and center myself, and approach this conversation moving from a place of solutions? That's what a gratitude to activate that inner wisdom of our heart. And this begins to support the transformation, and we move from reacting to responding to supporting the journey of a deeper transformation. I think that's the beauty of what these situations bring into our world. As chaotic as it is, when two opposing forces begin to cause friction, something new is going to be born. And I would love to be able to have a conscious control around what that creation is going to be versus it being from a haphazard reactive space, right?
I like that you said two opposing forces coming together, because it reminded me, I think last year, where I came across this phrase called unity of opposites, meaning everything, there's unity in opposites. Everything exists in opposites.
Yeah.
Red, blue, right, left, and it happens in our bodies, right? And that's the beautiful
Yin
nature of who
yang.
we are, yin and yang, right? And everything happens, but the goal is not to get stuck in one opposite and start to fight the other because I'm fighting myself.
Yeah.
Right? It's to find balance and harmony between those opposites. That's powerful. That's powerful.
It's beautifully said. Beautifully said. So.
And I'll ask you this, Brother Rob, man, because it's like, man, there's so much happening in the world. If I could ground that into a reality of like, boom, 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 like how does one navigate this?
Yeah.
How have you navigated this, and how does one continue to navigate this uncertainty?
And it came to my mind, so I'm going to share them. But these are two principles that I think are necessary to be downloaded into one's consciousness, right? One is change is always constant. When we are living inside space and time, we are living, call it the matrix, this reality, call it Maya, the illusion, all these different terms that our ancestors gave it. Change is always going to happen. So when we hold on and we get attached to things, it may be difficult to let go. But if we have the deeper awareness and knowing that nothing here is going to last forever, eventually it's going to pass, that leads to the second principle that's important, that this is a world of impermanence, right? Nothing is going to last forever. No leadership, no ways of how people are here in the present moment, and even the emotions that we experience, even this too is going to pass. And being grounded in that space gives me an awakening to realize, okay, then what is the lesson in this season of, will it be political season? Will it be the season of spring, summer, fall, winter? What is the relationship of my relationship? But there's always a season. But if I try to hold on to summer and I'm trying to stay in my beach outfit, it's going to be a little cold when winter comes around the corner. But I don't want to let go of summer. I want to stay in that beauty all day long. But I can learn how to put on a thicker coat. I was rocking some long johns last week to keep my body warm and just learning how to adapt. So I may not like the policies. I may not like the leader in power. But I know that it's upon myself to adapt. And that goes into one of the most powerful shifts that we can make, is moving from what's happening to me and, oh my gosh, oh, why this is so bad, to how I'm showing up to what life is showing me. Awakened Brain, Dr. Lisa Miller, right? And we have to get really practical. How do we control what we can in times of uncertainty? I mentioned being aware of changes being constant, impermanence. Those are probably more deeper, more, existential concepts. But we're going to make this even more simple and practical to give you a framework that shows you where you always have power to exercise in any experience and situation. What we got?
Yeah, so we have things that we control within ourselves, and what I will mention before we name those things that we control is that the things that we control, we have to practice that control. It doesn't happen overnight. the practice becomes habitual. It becomes learned in the body. And that's what it's mean by embodiment practices. When it's fully living inside the body, it can't be something I turn to when I need it. It's something I practice for. And when the time arises, I'm utilizing these tools that I have cultivated inside of me. So first things first, we have control over our breath. And how significant, it is to breathe, and no one can take that away from us, right? It's something that we control each and every moment, and it's something that we can connect to in our lowest state, in our highest state. But the better you are able to connect to your breath and navigate that space, you will create a superpower inside of you, because your breath is directly connected to your nervous system, your moves, and how you feel. Secondly, is our focus, our mindset, and what am I feeding my mind, right? What is the nourishment of my mind that's going to help me navigate these challenges? Because that which you put in your mind will eventually reflect in your reality. So am I consuming panic? Am I consuming the news, fear, or am I consuming wisdom, indigenous spiritual wisdom that has been around thousands of years, right? Because this uncertainty it is not new. It's always been here. Like, no one is uncertain of the tomorrow, right, as far as the world and what's happening for each individual body. So our focus, our mindset. 3 is our bodies. And this is a difficult one, too, because I know, in spaces where we're fighting for liberation, you got prisons, stuff like that, you could say, how is my body free, right? But, stress lives inside the body, so it's how you navigate the inner body. I'm not talking about the outer body. Navigating stress in your body, movement, stillness, and finding different breath work that can shift your body's mood, and how your body isn't just like your mind. It's another vehicle of intelligence. And lastly, our choices, because once we understand that each and every moment there's a choice, and choices, all right, not just two. That's a binary way of thinking, not just two, but there's many different pathways that we can take, right? So the more you can open up your mind and expand your mind, you'll be able to find, okay, there's infinite possibilities in this moment. You become Dr. Strange in the moment, right? So what pathway are we going to take next, all right? And just understanding everything is a choice, and everything is our choice of how we choose to live.
Infinite possibilities.
What would you add to that, Brother Ra?
Man, no, I think that's a powerful foundation, because you mentioned something about the breath. But if we're not being consciously aware of our breath, it's going to go into a pattern that is not going to probably support us. So I say conscious awareness of our breath and conscious control of it. Secondly, I would say it's a kind of a culmination of all the things you mentioned, our state of coherence, right? How I'm breathing, what I'm focusing on in my mind, whether it be gratitude, whether it be fear, whether it be scarcity, and then the state of my body, how tense or open it is from the practices that I'm integrating from the movement, and the choices I'm making around my diet are going to influence my state of coherence, which is that magnetic attracted field that is generated from our hearts. So I think when we have that, and then the last kicker, this is partly not, you could choose to not watch the news, but you have to also choose who you surround yourself around during times like this. If I know my uncle John is so ignorant and always is going to say the most reckless things, I may be mindfully aware of the time I invest in being around him till I have grounded myself in a positive way. If I have that friend Mychal or Rodney that's always uplifting, always grounded and centered, maybe I should go to one of their classes. Maybe I should check in, see what their social media is talking about. Maybe you're probably not going to find too much on social media because we don't post that much. Maybe we should take a moment to really hang around the energy, the vibratory field, the frequency that's going to support me and remind me to breathe, remind me to trust in something greater, to move in purpose, because that changes everything and who you're surrounding yourself on, because whether we see it or not, there's a field of energy that is merging between Mychal and I. And the thoughts that we're thinking, the emotions that we're carrying are influencing ourselves to either be in a deeper state of coherence or to be in a state of a discoherence. And that's something that we have to be aware of in choosing who we have and where we're at in community.
I like that you mentioned that, because community is really key, and who you surround yourself around becomes who you are. And forgive me because I'm not forgive me, but I'm quoting or like I just listened to What It Takes to Heal by Apprentice Hemphill, and
she's dope.
One thing that they mentioned was what you create is creating you. So when you create your community, it's creating you as well. So it becomes something that you pour into and something that pours into you as well. So that's extremely important, because in alone and isolation, that's where, you look at some of the words of Malcolm X, that's a breed of illness, right? When I'm in isolation. But when we look at the we, and that turns into wellness. Yeah. And that's powerful, because in uncertain times, we have to connect to community and help us understand that we are not alone, and we never are.
Nah, and I think healing in isolation is very difficult unless you some Buddhist guru grandmaster. You know what I mean? It's not highly encouraged, but finding a community like the Conscious Community Center or other safe spaces that allow for you to authentically show up.
Conscious Community Center, where's that at?
Oh man, 631 Lake Ave, Asbury Park. Open mic nights, powerful community to show up, whether it's your first time or you've been here for years. These are spaces that we need to create more of beyond just kids, so that we're able to provide spaces for us to discharge that energy and navigate difficult conversations in healthy ways. And we're about to turn the heat up a little bit, consciously controlled. And we've been speaking very subjective, but we're going to be more direct. And as we're moving through 2025, this 9-year, we know that uncertainty is not just an abstract concept. Like typically, me and Mike stay low key. We don't talk about all the politics, but this is a time where we feel that we can be leaders in articulating ways to navigate this. And we see it in our communities right now. We're seeing it in our schools. It's in the policies and the decisions being made at the highest levels, whether we're talking about the current immigration policies and the deportation and the shifting of that overnight, the shift of the LGBT rights and how that had to be in question, and the complete flip from the past 4 years, right? These are all things that our communities are wondering, if I'm going to be safe today, will I be safe tomorrow, right? These are not small issues in the communities that we're tapped into, and the folks that we're speaking now, there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of I don't know what to do. I don't know what to happen, a lot of anger. And we know it's not always easy. In times it feels like we're powerless and there's nothing that we can do. But I want to pause and make sure that everybody remembers this. Uncertainty is not an enemy. How we move through it is what determines whether we are stuck in fear or we rise and alchemize into our power. And that is something that is not always easy to articulate, but it really is so simple. What is this situation and experience going to transform me into?
Right? That's real. And there's a lot that we're uncertain about. And I told Dr. Carol Penn, who's with the Lunch Break Board, that I quote her one day. I've been quoting her a lot, actually. We had a conversation last week, and we were just talking about everything. And she's a living elder, right? She's one that accesses wisdom inside and really extends it to the community. And we're talking about freedom, right, and feeling inside the body. And she mentioned that she said the new Underground Railroad is feeling. And the liberation has to come through the pathways of your body. Right? And, and we need more Harriets out there who know how to navigate.
Black History Month coming up next month, though. It's going to be a Black History episode.
Yes. But it's true.
Liberation.
And it has to be in the present moment, right? Because that liberation has to come within ourselves. And, our power is always in the present moment. And the choices that we make, it's not the external forces that dictate that. It's the internal state that we're connected to. So, it's the deeper solution of accessing yourself, because the solution out there, yes, and then you vote, march, whatever. But if you're not changing yourself, nothing else is changing.
Yeah. Man, I'm not trying to be any funny guy here, right? But that would have been a powerful Black History episode. The liberation.
Oh yeah. We need it every month.
Yeah.
Every month.
Oh man, but I love what you mentioned, man. The solution, the inner wisdom that comes from our heart. We got to bring those shirts back and really get that blasted, because it's not it was activated during the George Floyd times and the protests and the soul test, and now we're seeing this new cycle, this new year, 4 years, and we have to really bring this home and make it practical. Because if you're feeling the weight, or if you're around people who are carrying that weight, and you're looking to find real things, instead of just saying, it's gonna be okay, or we're gonna get through this, that's good. Let's get to better, and let's find best in finding these holistic ways to activate that inner spiritual warrior to help us shift through this world and really integrate what we're talking about. And one thing we already mentioned, but we have to emphasize this, is really pause and breathe before you respond or react to anything, right? When you hear the news, take a deep breath, right? Before you get swept into the frustration as you're scrolling through social media and seeing a new post of some negative action, pause and take 3 or 4 deep breaths into the belly, expanding like a balloon, but as deep and long, and your lungs know what to do in order to activate that space. And ask yourself, am I responding from a place of wisdom, or am I responding from a place of fear? And your breath is that anchor, that gateway back to your center to have the clarity to use your brain in the best way possible. So breathe, family. Number 2, anchor in your heart, right? I'm really diving deeper into seeing myself in every single person. And to do that, it has to go from a space of seeing beyond just their physical appearance, beyond just the words that they need, and realizing that when I come from places of fear or judgment or division, I rarely lead myself to a good action or choice. But decisions made from a space of grounded in gratitude, acceptance, and love promote the clarity, or HeartMath's research calls it coherence, intuitive gold. So for this portion, man, to get into our heart, a great way is to build that physical connection. Place your hand on that heart. Find something where you can give gratitude towards being alive, being able to take action, and really say, hey, what's the most wise thing that I can do right now? What is the highest action that I can take? And I have to be still to listen to that intuitive gold awaken within myself, that state of coherence, that wisdom that lives inside each and every one of us. Third, man, expand your energy, not just your words, right? Talk about protests and how that rah-rah energy is necessary, but it's going to come a point where we have to do more than just use words. We have to take really deep action. And science is showing us, if you learn about the science of quantum mechanics and the quantum field, how this world that we are experiencing is being co-created, is generated by the field of our emotions. So learning how to elevate your emotions through movement, through breath work, right? Through being able to move into deeper states of stillness like sound healing and doing things like Vipassana meditation are all things that allow for you to embody the highest form of justice and harmony, the peace that we're looking for, the change that we're seeking, the non-reactivity that we're trying to bring into reality, and let that guide your action. And sometimes it might just be you in a room not even saying a word. Sometimes it's just you and your presence alone. Like, I love coming from a sound. I had a sound healing that you did at the Phoenix, and I got deep, and I was relaxed, and I was calm. And then the next day I went to a float studio. I was even deeper. And then a student of mine called me up in a fit of rage and just going through a challenging situation. And I was like, oh, I think this is what all that relaxation was for, right? I was like, my presence was needed. And it was probably him in the episode, him being inebriated in some other kind of substance. And that fear could only take me so deep because I was anchored into a deeper truth. And that energy helped me create something better to allow this kid not to make this decision of going and taking an action that would have probably got him severely locked up and incarcerated. And I think that because I know charging my energy up, if I didn't have that sound bath, if I didn't have that float the next day, I don't think I would have the capacity to even support. And that's what reminds me of the energy we're dealing with on a regular basis on the time. But we got a few more just to ground it.
Oh yeah. Connect with community. You know, that's really a space where you're able to come and you're able to be seen, be heard, and be healed with community. And when we know uncertainty will divide us, and fear divides us. You know, but the certainty that I'm grounded in a community that nourishes me, that pours back into me and shows me that the power lives inside of me, will support and unite me to something greater. And community is a source of well-being, right? And so much more. We'll talk about that in another episode, but but it's so much more, and it can show you that you're not alone, right? And we're all navigating, but the burden becomes a lot easier when we're navigating together versus in isolation.
How do you discern selecting a community in times like this? Like, what are some things that really help gain the clarity to truly making the best choice?
I'll say the number one discernment is your nervous system, right? Do you feel safe in this community? Do you feel like you're able to express ideas and be heard and be seen and valued? And likewise, it's reciprocal. So in communities that are reciprocal, we're pouring into each other.
Yeah.
And essentially, we're pouring into something greater than ourselves, right? Because, community expands us and we're able to go so much further. So I'd say discernment is just really starting with yourself and saying, okay, am I able to show all parts of me in this community? Am I able to share vulnerably and authentically in this community? And that's definitely step one, And of course, shared values, shared purpose, and are we moving in the same accord, right? Are we building on something, or is it every time I'm around you, I feel depleted, right? Or, I feel like I just worked, right? Or just being around you. That's real. I know some folks who go through that. I'm like, well, I mean, maybe you shouldn't be around these folks. And maybe you need to find, because, I know for me,
friends.
I have people who I feel nourished around, and then it's like, wow, okay, I need time out or time in, for Mychal. So and last thing I'll mention is choosing conscious action over blind reaction, because this is key. Right, and movements should move us to be better people, and we yes, take action. We need to stand up for something, and yes, it's not about just being passive, but we need to find alignment in what we're doing, right? Because I can take on the energy that's oppressing me, and I become the same oppressor, just in a different face and lens.
And I'm justified now.
Yes, and there's a lot of danger in the woke culture, right? And we think we're always right, right? And yes, we need to advocate for policies, but for the well-being of humanity and everyone, and simply showing your presence and being of loving presence. I remember the last time, I'll say this, I remember the last time I went to, I'm not going to say what city, I'm not going to give too much energy to that, but I remember the last time I went to one of those rallies, No Justice, No Peace, and we were but at the end of the rally, I saw us fight amongst each other. And that's where I was like, wait, there's no peace amongst the people. How can we find peace in society? And that which we're protesting for. So use strategy, use wisdom, use the internal landscape to find the external landscape of finding that which is going to bring us closer to wholeness as a humanity. Not me versus you, but us together. So choosing conscious action over blind reaction.
Yeah, and I'll say sometimes we're human. We may end up reacting.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I'm reading Rodney Unnefer. He's talking about you can really ground your consciousness in recognizing who you truly are. Yes. But that's a deeper conversation about the true self. But if I am reactive in a moment, taking that moment to pause down the road, taking those deep breaths, but playing that scenario back into your consciousness and then rehearsing and imagining you edited that version of the script that took place and playing the version of a higher thought of you. What would I have done if I was grounded or centered? And this is a profound technique because your mind doesn't know between what is reality and what is imagination. Your body will function and muscles will still be felt the same way as if I'm experiencing that reality. So a great tip, if I do find myself reacting in an argument, getting in a tense situation, but I know that I want to make these principles a part of me, taking that space to pause, reflect, rehearse, and create the reality of what a higher version would you have done. Because when you come across that energy again, it might be 2 or 3 times, but eventually your spirit, your voice will begin to project the reality that you have created in your consciousness. And that is a technique that has stuck with me for journeys for times of my journey.
Yes,
but
yes.
To ground ourselves in real practice, this is important, right? Because talking about these things are great. Right, but I even realized with the calamity of the world, I've committed to making sure that I'm getting an hour of movement, working out, breathing, stretching, laying on the mat every day, because I know I have to show up in a way that's not only enough strength for me, but I can use that overflow to pour into other people. And we have to just start by learning how to pour and fill our cup up to a high capacity. And this is a practice that is going to really help ground each of the layers that exist within us and filling it with more light by setting gratitude, love, and appreciation. They have this system called the five koshas in the yogic philosophy. This is academic purposes to help you understand their system of understanding the layers. And there are 5 layers that they address and talk about that we have to build a relationship. That is our physical body, our physical layer. That is our energetic, or the breath layer that we get from breathing and the energy that that creates. What is our breath doing? We have our mental layer, and they say mental and emotional because our thoughts do activate our emotional space. From the mental layer is that wisdom space, like what intuitive insight do I receive throughout the day? And how am I aware of that layer that exists? That's a plane in our consciousness. And then they have the bliss layer, the part of you that moves beyond your body, that moves beyond the thoughts, and it goes into a 0 point. Think about the number 0. No thing exists. And that could be for a moment, a split second, but we all have those layers inside of ourselves. And what we're going to do in this mindful moment is go through the body layer, go through the breath layer, and go through the heart, the mind and heart layer, and just give gratitude to those spaces. Observe them. We're going to breathe into them. We're going to feel them. And we're going to send appreciation and gratitude so that way we can strengthen each of those layers that affect us. But on a side note, you can cultivate so much wisdom and insight just by paying attention to what you have inside and giving you clarity. Maybe I should go to that spin class. Maybe I should go to that yoga class a little bit more, because your body's going to keep score. And if I'm not looking at the score, it could take over and I'm exploding. So whether we are driving, whether we are sitting down in a safe space, I invite you to find a posture that allows your spine to sit up a little bit taller. Whether you're laying, whether you're in a car. And we can do this practice eyes open or closed, definitely deeper when the eyes are closed and I'm drawing everything inward, but there's a layer of growth that can take place in the physical world as well. So once we're settled in, choose if you can close your eyes. If you're driving, keep them open. And as you're settling in, begin to allow the body to soften the best way that you can in this moment right now. And then just asking yourself internally, how do I know I have a body? What can I feel? Legs, tailbone, hips, back, shoulder, arms, head. And just notice the quality of that body. And then putting a gentle smile on your face with a tremendous amount of gratitude, just giving thanks and appreciation to your physical body. Thank you for helping me navigate this world. Thank you for keeping me as healthy as you can. Thank you for being physically present, even with the aches and pains that may be in the body. Still find ways to show gratitude for the energy that allows for you to experience this physical world. Your legs, your hands. And don't let it be till I find some deep injury that I find appreciation for what I once lost. And now imagine you breathing into your entire body, deep breath in through your nose, big sigh out the mouth. And wherever you are, placing a hand over the heart, placing a hand over the belly, and just taking a moment to notice the natural rhythm of your breath, the quality of your breathing. How fast, how slow, how deep it is, how shallow it is. Notice how smooth and how rough your breath is. And just give thanks, a tremendous amount of gratitude for the life, no matter how much or little air is being brought into your system. Give thanks for the oxygen that's feeding every single cell in your body. Give thanks for 2 lungs that are functioning to release the waste byproduct of the carbon dioxide. Give thanks for the ability to take in air, knowing that if I don't receive this nourishment, I won't even exist. The spirit that exists, the life force that exists. And to show that appreciation, breathe in as deep as you can right into your heart. And as you exhale, sigh it out, send all that love to your lungs, send all that love to your breath, and just really show appreciation, as strange as this may feel. And now lastly, shifting your awareness into your mental space. And just taking a moment to observe all of the thoughts that we are dealing with, the positive ones, the negative ones, the thoughts that lead to uncertainty, the thoughts that lead to joy. Whatever's happening right now, sit with it, embrace them, notice them. And then begin to give gratitude to know that you have choice to choose thoughts that will elevate your state of emotion. Begin to give gratitude for the thoughts that uplift you to have more purpose and clarity. And begin to give gratitude to the thoughts that challenge you to be greater, that challenge you to be a better version, and just giving gratitude. Because we want to charge up this mental space so I can be equipped to navigate and deal with the challenges and tests that life may be showing. And taking a deep breath in through your nose, imagine that breath being filled with gratitude and love into your mental plane. And a big sigh out. And just giving love and gratitude for the good and the bad that life is showing us right now. Not just the beauty of life, but knowing that even the challenges and tests are preparing me to become something greater. This friction, this tension, this stress is not to break me, but to only shape and mold me into a greater version of who I am destined to be. And I give gratitude for what life is bringing into this earth, and I give gratitude for how I'm showing up in a space that is grounded, centered, embodied, and awakened, so I can transform in who I need to be to support my family, my community, my students, and the world around me. Let's take one final deep breath in. Big sigh out. Put a big smile on your face. Send the energy of that smile right into your heart. And let that smile radiate into each and every single body part. And just tell yourself, I'm love, I'm peace, I'm happy, I'm free. I'm love, I am peace, I am happy, I am free. And never forget that, family. There's a power, there's a light, there's an energy, there's a source we can all connect to give us the strength that we need to show up in this world, right? So, Brother Mike, how you feeling?
I feel bliss. Yeah, bliss. Just light in my body. And
glowing
just
a little
like,
bit. Some lotion on yourself,
yeah. That's just the extra light shining.
Glow. Okay, yeah, it's that soul glow.
Yeah, man. How you feeling, brother?
Nah, it's beautiful, and I, as I was speaking, I'm just imagining everyone in this world on whatever side you are and seeing that part of them that we're all connected to, and asking my spirit, can I speak to that part that exists within each individual that is listening to these words?
That's beautiful, man.
So we about to wrap some up with some actions that we kind of talked about, but want to really ground it so that you don't forget if you don't play this again. What's one thing our listeners can do today to step into their power, Brother Mychal?
Yeah, I'll say first is really opening yourself and committing to stillness. And, before reacting, just taking that pause, that mindful pause, breathe, maybe take 3 to 5 breaths, whatever you need to, and just ground yourself before responding. And feel your feet against the ground and ask yourself, am I choosing peace or am I choosing fear? Who's winning this battle?
Yeah. And this is holistic because, like you mentioned earlier, what we feed ourselves is going to affect our perception of the world and how we feel about the world. So secondly, I say choose your inputs wisely, right? Maybe you may have to unfollow certain pages on social media. Maybe you might not answer every single phone call, right? Maybe you don't keep the news running all day long. Maybe get a quick review or just watch the articles, you know what I'm saying, ask ChatGPT to comb the internet and give you a summary so that you don't have to get too intensified. But the media makes money off of your views, and fear brings a lot of connection and wanting to know more, even though it's at our own detriment. So really making sure that you're consuming things that are nourishing you, that are uplifting your mind, that are giving you inspiration, and that are truly nourishing your spirit on a holistic level, right? And this could be this podcast right here.
Man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I say third, create a personal practice for yourself, right? And whatever that ritual looks like, commit to it and anchor yourself in that space. And maybe it's a ritual that you do at the same location, at the same time, each and every day, and really commit to yourself and your own well-being. It could be journaling, it could be breathwork, prayer, movement, it could be many different things, but commit to that, which is going to make you whole. And, that what keeps you steady, ready, with clarity, and ready for anything that comes your way.
Yeah, cool. Steady, are you ready?
I never heard that. Yeah. I never heard
man,
that.
You gonna cut that out the clip, man. Not joke. We good, buddy. Now we want to thank you all, everyone who's been committed to moving with wisdom in these times. You are the light that this world needs. You are the light that your family needs to see. You are the light that your community needs to see. Your classroom. So please keep shining. Let this be a feed to nourish your spirit.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed this episode, please, share it with a family, friend member, or anywhere on social media. Follow, and if you, see the movement grow, if you choose to, donation won't hurt either. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization and doing a lot in our community, and supporting the Conscious Community Center. And this is something that we're building on that's going to last for generations.
Yeah, and I definitely want to say also, if you stay tuned on our website, on our community page, we are going to be activating a safe community circle for those who are navigating some of the challenges, especially related to the Spanish and Latino population that we support and serve around the uncertainty of the immigration status. And it's creating a safe space just to have conversations, just to connect. So check out the website, conscious.org. Check out our community events page, and you'll see a way to sign up, and we can directly support and build community even in this digital space. And remember that this is just a test to really see what you're made out of. And I know your creator, the same creator that made me and Mychal, is something powerful and special. And there's nothing that's put in front of us that we cannot navigate and overcome. And I believe that we have everything that we need within ourselves and hopefully in the communities you find externally to build you up. So until next time, stay grounded, stay heart-centered, and stay in your power. And one last time, Brother Mike.
We appreciate you all.
We care about you all.
And we love you all. Yes.